Welcome. Today I'm talking to you from Trading Show in Chicago, and I'm so pleased for you to meet Tom Lombardi. He is a general partner and founder. You're a founder, right?
Director of Wave.
Director of Wave. Okay, Director of Wave Financial. Really great. You have a really great team. So that's why there are a number of people that are there, and all of you are amazing. I really love sharing with you people that go with deep roots into blockchain industry and really crypto industry, because obviously some people believe they can be two different ones, and those that kind of especially have just wonderful ethos and are driven to do better, and you are the spirit of doing better. And I think that the work that you guys are doing at Wave Financial is so important, and I think it just gives life to the industry, to the founders, to the companies, to actually be able to come in and thrive, right? And so please go ahead and kind of, let's discuss that. And
yeah, no, this is great. Thank you for having me. I mean, we talked about before around really, banking the unbanked, right? This is a thesis around financial services for individuals, the 7 billion people in this world, and that's what the paradigm shift with cryptocurrency, digital assets can do for the world. But our ethos is a bit more specific around startups and entrepreneurs. We want to bank them as the unbanked, right? And there are so many cases where just because entrepreneurs raised money in these token markets, they're being excluded from mainstream financial services. That's not fair. That's not fair. Just because of one regulatory body thinks that that's within a compliance realm that may be different in other countries. But we're just we're trying to support entrepreneurs in their vision and covering the boring stuff, right? The banking stuff, because without that, they really can't thrive. Yeah. And so like all of these, we spoke with a project out of Asia that has $30 million sitting on an exchange in Tether, and we know that Tether has its own issues. You can't operate a business that way, And so, what we're doing in our treasury management group is we're finding a safe home for those assets that the project certainly has full access to, but with a regulatory approved broker dealer. So these are just simple things that we're trying to do to help.
And when I think about treasury management for the post-ICO companies, really, or just these crypto companies, right? I think that and we see a lot of evidence for that as well, and it's discussed in the media and thought leadership articles, that it really is kind of the choking point that keeps down the development, because treasury management is not, it's not given and it's not easy, and you need to have experts for that. And now there's a new curveball. It's a crypto, right? And so it completely throws all the rules around, an assumption that if you're a genius technologist and if you're a genius business person and CEO, you can then you can manage your treasury of this asset class that only a small number of people in the world understand what it is and how to navigate it. So that's why you give life. You give life to the innovation of blockchain technology and kind of to these companies.
Yeah, I think that, if you think about running a business without payroll, how do you pay your team, right? Think about having a company without marketing budget. How do you pay for advertisements? How do you become part of conferences, organizations? Not everyone accepts, Bitcoin, Ethereum for real life, expenses.
There's huge volatility, right? So if Bitcoin is growing and you're paying your people in fiat X amount of Bitcoin, then it's a great deal. But when it completely collapses and your treasury collapses completely, what do you do?
What do you do?
What do you do?
So we're trying to provide those professional financial services to companies that really don't have those best practices. Early in 2017, you had a lot of funded ICO companies that just kept their funds within this volatile asset class, and whether that worked out or not, it's just not a prudent business decision. Yeah. And so, for us, it's like, how can we enable things like payroll? How do we enable things like having marketing budgets for, so that entrepreneurs can focus on, development? Many of these are engineers. And so, they're not supposed to be managing multi-million-dollar treasury accounts. Yeah. Nevertheless, in something like a hot wallet on an exchange, right?
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
That's just this gap that we see. And, we're a registered investment advisor. We're playing by the rules. And it has been difficult to get a lot of these projects through compliance, but we can. And so that's our, of the many other things that we do within asset management, that's the one part that I really gravitate towards around just like contributing to this community.
It's hard, and it's definitely worth it, right, to be able to do it. And so I also think of an important kind of an angle, because I do know that a lot of companies maybe that would be hearing, or founders that would be hearing you say that it's important, us discussing that, they would say, well, I'll pay them in crypto and that's fine, and they're fine and happy. But the thing about it is that not everybody will accept the crypto, and so then they need to liquidate their crypto holdings, usually in the times of the market crashing, right? Because their employees need to pay bills. And then I think, okay, well, we have a company that says, I raised $10 million to build this product, and I need $10 million to raise this product, but then they only end up having $2 million or $3 million because the collapse happened. Sure. They can't deliver that product that they promised, right, because they collected $10 million, and correct. So it really is such a key.
Yeah, and I don't want to look at things in hindsight by saying you should have done this, you shouldn't have done that, because that's we look at things in 2020, and
we
so
can't fix.
We can't, right? Yeah, we can't fix. But we can look forward.
Now,
we can look forward, right?
Make the right decision right now.
Yeah.
If you have $2 million left, go and help somebody help you manage your treasury.
Yeah. So, and then there are other things to
financial.
contemplate. So, thank you,
Yes.
Irina. The other things to contemplate are just around, like, okay, let's just say your team accepts Bitcoin and payment. And let's just say your conference organizers will take Bitcoin for sponsorships, and but certainly when you look at your insurance policies or your office rents, that's going to be a bigger problem. But really, the more systemic issue is around the current infrastructure around really like hot wallets and exchanges. It's fragile. We saw what happened with Binance this week, and $40 million is a lot, and that did come from customer hacks, not really a hack on the exchange. But then you look at something like Tether, which is the store of value for a lot of these projects. Mm-hmm. That's where they keep their money, and there's just so many legal issues. And on staying on Tether too, part of the reason why Tether is having the problems that it is, because Wells Fargo pulled all of their banking accounts from Bitfinex and Tether. The financial services failed these entrepreneurs, and that's a starting point. And that's why they had to be so desperate and to work with this crypto capital group to, find all these intermediaries to find accounts. I know a lot of other projects, well-established ones that use the same sort of methods. They use third parties to open and close accounts around the world and just circulating this money around just to keep things moving. Yeah. You can't operate that way as an entrepreneur.
To keep paying your bills.
You can't operate that way.
You can't. Banking was and is still a huge issue, and I hope that we're heading toward the world where it's becoming less and less issue. So I'd like to ask you about kind of what would be your desired outcome to celebrate next halving? So what would you like to see for the industry to be? What kind of a stage in a year from now? So in a year we'll have the having an event, and it's a big deal for the core crypto people, for all
Sure.
the Bitcoiners, and I believe for the whole industry. So what are your hopes and dreams are for us to have then?
I mean, really, it's about adoption, and that's happening. It's happening. There's more adoption out there for certainly investment than people really think. I'll give you an example. If you take all of the daily volume of the major cryptocurrency exchanges around the world, the legitimate ones, right? We're talking about Coinbase, BitTrex, and a few others. It's around $100 million a daily volume. The CME, which is right in Chicago, where we are, Chicago Mercantile Exchange, those futures trade at 500% to 100% as all crypto exchanges. There's more volume happening by institutional investors here in Chicago than crypto exchanges across the world. That's amazing. And that, like, for me, that gives me goosebumps, because to have, like, the blue-haired cypherpunks being replaced by gray-haired guys in suits, I mean, that sounds a bit myopic, but it's good for our space, right? It just means that we're growing up. It means we're becoming more mainstream. So maybe my mom doesn't have a Bitcoin wallet. She will in the future, but it's good to know that behind the scenes, behind these closed doors, within financial services, they are getting in and they're getting invested.
Yes, they are, and in infrastructure levels and exposure as an asset class, and it's just really, really great to see all this adoption.
Yeah, and I mean, within the trading show too, we have large companies that already have like options exchanges and different trading tools and strategies and infrastructure. They're applying that to our new emerging asset class. They're willing to take that risk.
Yeah.
And all of the shortfalls that we talked about within banking systems for crypto projects, that's coming to light too. I mean, you have banks like Silvergate that, granted, their strategy is a bit rich for them, but at least that's coming. At least that's thriving.
Yeah.
And so, I think in the next 6 months we will see a lot more enthusiasm. And we'll see a lot more professional build out. A lot of these projects are being, some of the ones that are not working on things are slowly going away, and that's great, right? We're purging out the waste and the slack, I guess, and the exciting opportunities. They are around infrastructure. I say exciting, but you may not think that, custody or prime brokerage
it sounds very exciting.
It's not gonna throb your heart or anything, but these are the building blocks of building a new financial system.
And really, for your mom to be able to actually get that's exactly what we need to see happening. So, and to kind of as my final question, I would like you to think about sharing a wisdom. So if basically think of an idea of, if somebody thinks of this wisdom, they think Tom, and so what is that like one thing you want our viewers to carry out? It doesn't have to be work, it can be whatever it is, like whatever is that your like wisdom that you want really be shared with the world, and hopefully somebody will one day say, yes.
This is a timely question. I turned 40 this year, and I'm like coming into my old age. I'm like, what can I do to be like more nimble? What can I do to have more foresight? And I use the concept of like the beginner's mind, right? Like, ask dumb questions, seek alternatives. Like who's it? Yoshi from Galaxy. On his email, he's got this sort of be like water, and it's like as water moves, it just finds. It finds different paths. It doesn't try to control. It doesn't look for things. Yeah, just be fluid and be. So for me, like the beginner's mind and having young kids, it's certainly helpful to just ask silly questions and break that like these mental models that we have. It's hard to do that, right? Because we do certain things every single day in such a pattern. I challenge myself to just think like a 4-year-old and
Yeah.
just keep poking holes and ask silly questions.
Yeah, break through biases
Exactly.
and welcome life with all its surprises and
Yep.
say yes to
Absolutely,
things. Yeah.
absolutely.
Well, that is so great. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. It definitely inspired me. So it really goes back. I've been really into transurfing lately. Check
Okay.
it out. It's an interesting. It's kind of theory based on. It's a life approach based on quantum research from this quantum scientist from Russia. So really cool stuff. Yeah, but it makes me think of those principles too. It's just kind of a be, embrace, and do good and do you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's great.
yeah, thank you for so much,
Yeah.
and thank you for your time. And please reach out to Tom. What is the best way to follow you, to connect with you, to become a client for your company?
Sure.
Or what is the best connection?
Yeah, I mean, personally, Tom Lombardi, at Tom Lombardi on Twitter is a great place to interact, have fun. DM me there. And then our company, Wave Financial, you can find us at wavegp.com.
Wavegp.com. Bye.
Thank you, Irina.
My pleasure.